Hello, it's Derek Rice, and this is my storytelling for EDOL. So, the story talks about one of my former students, and he decided to take a ride with friends of his, unknowing to him that these friends had stolen a car. He was trying to make it home after school to complete his probationary requirements, which means that he must check in with his probation officer after school every day for 90 days. He was almost at the end of his 90 days. He decided to then because he had stayed after school for tutoring, he decided to hurry up and try to make it home. His friends saw him running down the street. He asked him if he needed a ride. He said yes. He ended up getting in the car, and before they can get down about 2 3 blocks, he had noticed that the car seemed to be either jimmy with a screwdriver, which means it would have been stolen. He then decided to uh, remove himself from the vehicle without drawing attention to the problem, started walking, almost jogging home. Without them knowing, the car was being followed by a patrol car. Patrol car then proceeded to pull the car over and stop all the individuals. He then, uh, the patrol car then called a Hilton officer who had them pick up the other young man who had got out of the car. They were all arrested, brought back to the scene of the crime, and then booked on grand theft auto and attempted joyriding. The judge, he was sentenced and then sitting before a judge. The judge, without asking any questions or investigating further, sentenced the young man to 4 years at a juvenile correction center. He was then sent back to one of our facilities and was uh, back to our facility and then was going through the process of being readmitted. Each time the staff member asked him a question, they never asked him the question about did he do it. The principal finally did his final interview and asked the young man. The young man asked him, "Are you going to ask me whether I did it or not?" And it did dawn on the principal to actually ask. So he asked him, "What happened? Did you do this crime?" He said, "No." So he explained him the story. And with the young man being a little credible with the principal decided to look up the young man's record. You could look up all the young men that were with him, and then have those other men transferred to his facility. After transferring them there, he then asked the other young men about this particular young man and his involvement in the situation. All the young men just had admitted to the principal he had nothing to do with it. He didn't even know that they were stealing the car. So he decided to then call the director, then call the district attorney, had the young man then uh, um, admit to stealing this car, but not notifying the other young man that it happened. It was then sent to the judge, and the judge finally did his checking his records. And what happened was they checked the school records and saw that the young man had been in class at the exact same time his car was reported stolen. So it didn't coincide with what was really happening. So in the end, the young man was actually exonerated and released. He's now doing well, going to junior college, and from there he has just been working on himself. Now, the imagine part is imagine there's 7 parts. Imagine what would happen to patrol if the patrolman would have questioned all the students when they stopped the car instead of jumping to a conclusion. What happens if they would contact the school about the students' whereabouts? What if the judge would have actually led with empathy and compassion for our youth and not pass judgment with blinders on? What if the staff at the JCS had actually asked the student what happened? What if the principal, who understood restorative practices, did not actually investigate further into the story to find out what happened with the young man? These are the things that we work on changing in our school system, especially in the juvenile court schools, to more lead with social emotional learning and self efficacy than regular practices of punitive interventions. So our hope is that more and more of the people in power begin to make decisions with empathy in mind and learning it as a tool as we are part of the education community. Thank you.